And as socialism gains traction with young voters and far-left activists, Gad Saad, who happens to seem to be Elon Musk's favorite author, recently was on my podcast where he discussed why he believes communism is incompatible with human nature. Anyway, he's the author of Suicidal Empathy. Professor Gad Saad is with us. I think Elon has promoted your book more than any one person in the world. In light of the discussion I just had with Bill de Blasio and John Fetterman, and your book, which I've read cover to cover, and your experience living in Canada as you described it on my podcast, what's your political takeaway?
Well, as we discussed on your show, Sean, there are sound bites that sound nice coming from socialism. Sharing is caring. It's unfair that some people have more money than other people. Shouldn't there be an empathetic overlord that comes along and, recalibrates income distribution? That sounds nice if I were a 5-year-old child in kindergarten. But in the real world, where we recognize that there are differences across people, we are a hierarchical species. Some of us are harder working, less harder working, taller, shorter, better looking, less better looking. To try to impose a socio-political economic system that is contrary to our human nature is always going to fail. But that notwithstanding, there's always a new generation of imbeciles that are going to fall prey to the allure of the message of socialism.
Okay, so the main question is, let me go back to the questions I was bringing to former Mayor de Blasio. They want to seize the means of production. They want to seize private property. They want to abolish the police. They want to abolish America's prisons, America's borders. They don't even want criminal illegals that commit murder and rape and are convicted deported. Can that party win in this country?
Well, they can if there is a sufficiently large number of people who have been infected by the parasitic form of suicidal empathy, right? It's mean to not give felons a 147th chance again. It's mean to not allow all illegal immigrants who want to participate in American exceptionalism to not be granted an opportunity. So if you view the world through the prisms of suicidal empathy, then that message will resonate with people. And by the way, today is Canada Day, but hopefully soon I will be celebrating July 4th as a fellow American.
Well, congratulations. Whatever name, whatever manifestation, whatever form, socialism, statism, redistributionism, communism, whatever you want to call it, it seems to always end up with the same results. Unfulfilled promises. You end up with more poverty than before. You then calculate how much freedom you gave up in the name of false security. Why is it so appealing to people to think that, we'll empower government officials to take this group of people's money, their hard work, their success, and we'll give it to another group of people, and then the politicians become all powerful?
Because it depends what is the metric that you're trying to optimize, right? If your goal is to create equality or as close to as possible of equality of incomes, then that message resonates well. It's unfair that Elon Musk makes a lot more money than some other guy who's on food stamps. But if you recognize that the most direct way for optimal flourishing, both at the individual level and at the collective level, is through capitalism, then you'll be optimizing a different metric. And so, but again, this is why it is such an alluring message, because there's always going to be an AOC and a Bernie Sanders that points to those people on top of the hill and says, it's unfair that they make so much money. Let's get them to their fair taxes, even though they pay most of the taxes.
I've got to believe in my heart and soul that most Americans have enough common sense to reject this form of radicalism. We'll know a lot more in the midterm. Gad Saad, thank you, sir. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.